Luckily for you, this is a much smaller paragraph than smart contracts. Doesn't mean it isn't equally important, because you could have created the best smart contract in the world, but if you can't let it interact with the outside realm, pretty much worthless. Not always, of course, because you can have on-chain smart contracts that work perfectly fine. Just think about Bitcoin. They can transact value between other entities, fully digital, no interaction with the offline realm as well. So not always the case that you need to interact with oracles, but regarding smart contracts and decentralized applications and users and such, you will most likely have some interaction with the real world. So in general, just stick when building smart contracts, there's a high opportunity that you will connect with the outside world. Hence, you need an oracle that transfers this physical outside realm into the digital realm. So, public blockchains and smart contracts have a challenge that this contract needs to be deterministic. That's an important terminology because because that means that they need to have the same outcome, which makes, for example, gambling on a blockchain quite difficult, because every time if node 1 calculates a contract and, for example, run a dice and throw the digital dice and ends up at 2, the other node on the other side of the world, if they throw the dice, they should end up with the same 2 as well. Of course, it's fully random. That's quite hard to realize, because that node will throw a 2 and that node will throw a 6. So not everything can be suited or thrown into these smart contracts. So for example, gambling is a challenge, and there are solutions for these oracle problems, as you will see later on. But just to give you an example of a challenge. So deterministic contract, we need to have the same output because we need to validate/verify transactions. Other than that, the interaction with the on-chain world and the off-chain world not goes often via one input. Keep in mind that there are multiple possible input moments in a contract. So for example, the vending machine example would be you throwing in money, but also pushing in the numbers and getting your cup of coffee out of it. Those are multiple interactions, because the machine likes, hey, I now received the money, hey, I now received a route, and hey, the transaction is finished because the coffee got removed. Okay, so multiple entry there. I think, yeah, in the literature you can find multiple additional sources. By now, you most likely have a decent understanding of what an oracle is. So if you understand it, skip on to the next session. If you want to learn more about oracles, dive into the literature as well. So next session will be about the different types of oracles.